Coffee starts as a bright red fruit growing on a tree, not as a bean in a bag, not as powder in a jar. Every cup you drink has traveled thousands of miles and gone through dozens of precise steps before it reaches your kitchen. Today, we're walking through the complete journey, from growing coffee cherries to filling jars with instant coffee, step by step. Coffee grows best in tropical regions around the equator. Coffee trees take about 3 to 4 years to produce their first crop. When ripe, the cherries turn a deep red. Inside each cherry are 2 seeds, the coffee beans. Farmers carefully monitor ripeness because timing affects flavor. These machines dramatically increase speed and reduce labor costs. Machine harvesting collects ripe and unripe cherries at once, requiring extra sorting later. Once harvested, the cherries must be processed quickly. The first step is depulping, removing the outer red skin. The mucilage layer contains natural sugars. To remove it, beans are either fermented in water tanks or processed mechanically. After fermentation, the beans are washed thoroughly. This step greatly impacts flavor development. After washing, the beans are spread across large patios or raised beds under the sun. Workers rake them regularly to ensure even drying and prevent mold. Once dried, beans still have a protective parchment layer. A hulling machine then removes this layer, revealing the green beans inside. After hulling machines remove this outer shell, revealing the green coffee bean inside, the beans are then polished and prepared for grading. Green coffee is packed into large bags and stacked in dry, temperature-controlled warehouses. Humidity control is critical to prevent mold and preserve flavor before export. When shipments arrive at roasting facilities, robotic arms lift heavy coffee bags onto conveyor systems. Advanced tracking systems record origin and quality data for traceability. Before roasting, green beans are cleaned and sorted. They pass through vibrating sifters and air classifiers to remove dust, broken beans, and foreign material. Optical sorters may eject defective beans using air bursts. Quality control teams perform cupping, the industry's standard tasting method. Aroma is rich and complex.
Acidity is bright with a smooth body.
Sweetness and aftertaste are well balanced. Tasters evaluate aroma, acidity, body, sweetness, and aftertaste. The aroma is rich and inviting.
Yes, and the body is smooth.
Each batch is scored to ensure it meets standards. Roasting transforms green beans into aromatic brown coffee. Chemical reactions develop flavor, aroma, and color. Light roasts preserve acidity, while dark roasts create deeper, smoky notes. After roasting, beans are cooled quickly and ground to specific sizes. For instant coffee, grinding increases surface area for efficient extraction. To make instant coffee, brewed coffee extract must first be concentrated into a thick liquid. This inside, powerful nozzles atomize the liquid into a fine mist, creating millions of tiny droplets. At the same time, hot air, often exceeding 200 degrees, circulates through the chamber. As the droplets fall, the heat causes the water inside them to evaporate almost instantly. What remains are tiny, dry coffee particles that collect at the bottom of the tower. Spray drying is extremely fast and efficient, making it ideal for large-scale production. However, because it uses high temperatures, some delicate aroma compounds can be lost during the process. Even so, it remains one of the most widely used methods for producing instant coffee worldwide. Freeze drying is a slower and more expensive process, but it preserves more of the coffee's original flavor and aroma. First, the brewed coffee extract is concentrated and then rapidly frozen at very low temperatures, forming solid slabs or granules. Freezing locks the flavor compounds in place and prevents heat damage. The frozen coffee is then broken into smaller pieces and transferred into a vacuum chamber. In this sealed environment, pressure is drastically reduced, creating the conditions for sublimation. Sublimation is the scientific core of freeze drying. Under low pressure and controlled temperature, the ice trapped inside the frozen coffee does not melt into liquid water. Instead, it transitions directly from solid ice to water vapor. This vapor is drawn away by the vacuum system, leaving behind dry coffee granules that retain their original structure. The cell structure remains more intact, helping preserve aroma compounds and flavor complexity. The result is larger, porous granules that dissolve quickly in hot water, delivering a taste closer to freshly brewed coffee compared to spray-dried versions. Once drying is complete, the finished coffee granules are transported through sealed stainless steel pipelines to automated filling lines. Precision dosing systems measure exact quantities for each jar, ensuring weight consistency across thousands of units per hour. Before sealing, some manufacturers reintroduce captured aroma compounds that were collected earlier in the process. This step enhances the final fragrance when the jar is opened. Machines then vacuum seal or nitrogen flush the containers to reduce oxygen exposure, protecting freshness and extending shelf life. Lids are secured, labels applied, batch codes printed, and jars packed into cartons for global distribution. Within days, these jars travel to supermarkets, warehouses, and homes around the world. From a red cherry ripening under tropical sun to instant crystals dissolving in your mug, coffee's journey is far more complex than it first appears. It moves through seasons of rain and heat, through human hands and stainless steel machines. Every stage leaves its fingerprint. The soil shapes the sweetness, the altitude sharpensation refines character, roasting unlocks aroma. Drying preserves what chemistry created. Behind every cup is coordination across continents. Farmers monitoring ripeness at sunrise, workers turning beans under open skies, engineers calibrating temperature curves down to the second, automated lines filling thousands of jars per hour with microscopic precision. It's a chain built on timing. Harvest too early and the flavor is thin. Dry too slowly and moisture lingers. Roast too long and bitterness takes over. Remove water too aggressively and aroma disappears. Coffee is balance, and maintaining that balance at global scale is a technical achievement few people ever see. Yet when it finally reaches you, all of that complexity collapses something simple. A familiar smell, rising steam, the first sip of warmth, comfort, focus, routine, energy, a small daily ritual powered by an enormous invisible system. So the next time you open a jar and hear that subtle crack of the seal, remember, you're not just preparing a drink, you're completing a journey that began on a tree thousands of miles away. You're tasting climate, craft. And that's the remarkable story hidden inside every spoonful of coffee. Story of precisions, trees that take e-commerce in their degree, a story reduced to their first harvest. A story of patience, trees that take years before producing their first harvest. A story of precision, temperatures measured to degree, moisture reduced to exact percentages, seconds carefully counted inside roasting drums and drying chambers. A story of movement, from mountain farms to cargo ships, from warehouses to factories, from assembly lines to store shelves. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary routines are built on extraordinary systems. What feels instant to us is anything but. Coffee is agriculture meeting technology, tradition meeting automation, nature meeting engineering. And in the end, all of in that first sip, familial, but never simple in how it got there.